Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a bias that often goes unnoticed, but it's really hard to avoid: confirmation bias. It can affect not only personality typology systems, politics, finances, science, but also how we make decisions in our everyday life. Even when considering something as simple as deciding whether to indulge in a piece of chocolate.
Chocolate is amazing. Nothing beats a piece of chocolate when you need an inspiration. And it's not just a treat, it also has a lot of health benefits. Sure, chocolate might taste good, but let's be real, its downsides are hard to ignore. Chocolate has a lot of antioxidants and it can help reduce inflammation and lower blood pressure. And it also releases endorphins, making you happier and more relaxed. And when you consume in moderation, the benefits definitely outweigh the downsides. First of all, most chocolate has a lot of sugar and unhealthy fats, which can lead to weight gain, tooth decay, and heart problems. And even dark chocolate that is praised for its health benefits still contains sugar and fat. Plus, a lot of chocolate is produced under unethical conditions. That's alone a reason to think twice before indulging.
It looks like those two are not gonna change each other's minds anytime soon. Exactly, because here we can see the confirmation bias in action.
What do you mean by that?
Confirmation bias is a tendency to search, interpret, favor, and remember information that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs, while ignoring or downplaying the evidence that contradicts them. In the case of those two, each of them had their own pre-existing viewpoints. One of them strongly believes that chocolate is good, and the other one that chocolate is bad. The one who thinks chocolate is good, when reading something online, is most likely to click on the articles with titles like 10 health benefits of chocolate, or why dark chocolate is good for your health and brain. But if she comes across studies linking chocolate to sugar levels, weight gain, child labor, and poor wages in cocoa farming, she will most likely dismiss them, thinking, that's only true for some people. Those studies probably don't consider dark chocolate. Chocolate industry doesn't have that many ethical issues anymore. A lot of companies are doing a lot in this regard. The person whose pre-existing belief is that chocolate is bad would most probably pay attention to the articles like chocolate linked to obesity in teens or child labor and slavery in the chocolate industry. And she will be quick to share this information with others, seeing that as yet another confirmation of her belief. However, if she encounters information about potential benefits of chocolate, she might downplay the importance or validity of this information by thinking, they're just trying to sell more chocolate, or the findings are just exaggerated, maintaining her belief that chocolate is bad. Because another problem of confirmation bias that it can easily lead to attitude polarization.
Attitude polarization?
It happens when a disagreement becomes more extreme, even though different parties are exposed to the same evidence. Actually, before psychological research on confirmation bias, the phenomena has been observed throughout history. A Greek historian, Thucydides, Italian poet Dante Alighieri, an Arabic sociologist, philosopher, and historian Ibn Khaldun, English philosopher and scientist Francis Bacon, and German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, who observed an adapted hypothesis gives us lynx eyes for everything that confirms it and makes us blind to everything that contradicts it.
Actually, I have lynx eyes for both sides. I just choose to enjoy my life from time to time. Seriously? Lynx eyes for both sides? After all that was explained here? For example, I decided to eat a piece of dark part3 chocolate once a day as an experiment. I'm really glad for you. Hopefully it will make you more happy and less annoying. I think I'm gonna kill her.
A term, confirmation bias, was coined by English cognitive psychologist Peter Weizen, who pioneered psychology of reasoning. He sought to explain why people consistently commit logical errors. That's why he designed problems and tests to demonstrate those behaviors. He created quite a few logic puzzles, and here's one of the most famous ones: Weizen selection task. There is a set of 4 cards placed on the table. Each card has a number on one side and color on the other side: 3, 8, and blue, and red. Which card or cards must be turned over to test the idea that if a card shows an even number on one face, then its opposite face is blue? If you'd like to tackle the task on your own, feel free to pause the video.
We don't need to pause the video, that's easy. We need to turn 8 and blue. As strange as it may sound, I must agree with her on that one.
That is exactly what 90% of people in the experiment said as well. The correct response, however, is to turn over the 8 card and the red card. And that is why. The rule was, if the card shows an even number on one face, then its opposite face is blue. So if the card 3 is blue or red, that doesn't violate the rule. The rule makes no claims about odd numbers. If the 8 card is not blue, it violates the rule. If the blue card is odd or even, that doesn't violate the rule. The blue color is not exclusive to even numbers. If the red card is even, it violates the rule. Weizen was surprised that not even 10% of the subjects found the right solution. Then similar results were replicated in 1993. Weizen believed that main reason of participants' error was due to confirmation bias. Because confirmation bias compels people to seek cards which confirm the rules but overlook the main purpose of the experiment, which is purposefully to choose the card that potentially disconfirms the rule.
But were there any experiments in more of real-time setup?
Yes, of course. For example, confirmation bias in beliefs about capital punishment. In 1979, psychologists Charles Lord, Lee Ross, and Mark Leber conducted an experiment to explore how confirmation bias affects beliefs about controversial social issues. In this case, they studied participants' view on capital punishment. Participants were divided into 2 groups based on their pre-existing beliefs: those who supported capital punishment and those who opposed it. Each group were given 2 sets of studies, some supporting the idea that capital punishment deters crimes, and others supporting the idea that it doesn't. The evidence was mixed, but both sets of studies were designed to be equally convincing. As a result, participants showed a strong confirmation bias. Those who supported capital punishment found the studies in favor of it to be more convincing, while dismissing or critically evaluating the studies that opposed their views. Conversely, participants against capital punishment did the opposite. The study demonstrated how people selectively accept evidence that supports their pre-existing beliefs and reject or downplay evidence that contradicts them. Instead of becoming more objective, they actually became more polarized.
Why does it actually happen?
Imagine each fact is a brick. Facts that confirms your belief, those with a value above 50%, are represented by green bricks. The higher the value, the larger the brick. On the other hand, facts that challenge your belief, those with value below 50%, are red bricks. They are much smaller and less significant in comparison. Also, some of them are completely ignored, which brings their value to 0 and makes the bricks disappear. Now, let's stack those bricks into a wall of belief. Because confirming facts are larger and more numerous, they dominate the structure. And if even a person exposed to the same amount of confirming and opposing evidence, it often ends up in attitude polarization, because in this case the amount and size of confirming facts continuously grows, and the size and the number of opposing facts has no chance to keep up. Confirmation bias has been studied for years, and there are many other experiments that confirm the influence of the bias on many aspects of our life. It was found repeatedly that people tend to test hypotheses in one-sided way. By searching for evidence consistent with their current hypothesis, rather than searching through all relevant evidence.
And what about its connection to personality typologies?
In personality typology systems, confirmation bias strongly influences how people perceive themselves and others. Self-identification and validation. People often approach personality tests or results after an interview with certified typologists with preconceived ideas. If results match those ideas, they readily accept them, reinforcing their self-concept. For instance, if someone believes they are an introvert and gets a matching result, they may accept it without critically examining the other aspects of their personality. Selective memory. Once people identified with a certain personality type, they tend to recall information supporting it. For example, an individual classified as INTJ in MBTI system might focus on the past experiences where they were logical or strategic, overlooking emotional or social behaviors, and so reinforcing belief in the typology's accuracy. Resistance to change. After adopting a particular personality label, confirmation bias can make people resistant to altering their self-view even if they get new evidence. If someone who identifies as a type 7 in Enneagram exhibits behaviors more consistent with another type, they may dismiss those behaviors as exceptions rather than reconsidering their overall classification. Personality typologists also experience confirmation bias. Selective data interpretation. Typologists might emphasize cases that confirm their models, while ignoring or downplaying the evidence that doesn't fit. For example, if a typologist invested in the idea that introverts are more reflective and creative, they might highlight cases where introverted individuals fit their patterns, while ignoring those who don't. Overlooking contradictory evidence. Confirmation bias can lead typologists to dismiss findings that challenge their models, preventing more accurate and nuanced framework that can help their models to evolve. Selective anecdotes and testimonials. Typologists may focus on positive testimonials while downplaying critiques. Often, typologists attract communities that reinforce typology's legitimacy, creating a feedback loop where anecdotal evidence is repeatedly confirmed and negative critiques are minimized. And that can give the impression that typology is universally valid, even when empirical evidence suggests otherwise.
Oh my god, that gives me the feeling that humans are doomed.
Actually, confirmation bias is not all that bad. Psychologists have found that confirmation bias is linked to how our brain processes information. We are hardwired to prefer certainty over ambiguity, and we naturally avoid cognitive dissonance. This bias is a survival mechanism to help us make quick decisions, but in today's world, it can often lead to faulty thinking.
So what can we do to minimize the effects of bias?
As with any other bias, the first step is recognizing that it exists. We need to understand that we all have biases and prone to seek information that supports our views. The second step is to expose yourself to opinions and perspectives that challenge your beliefs. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with them, but hearing the other side can help you to develop a more balanced view. Asking critical questions is also very important. When you encounter information that confirms your belief, ask yourself, is it true Or am I ignoring some evidence? And the last but not the least, be open to being wrong. Admitting that your belief is incorrect is difficult, but it's essential for growth. Remember, changing your mind based on new evidence is a strength, not a weakness. That's it for today's dive into confirmation bias. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And never stop questioning. Stay pink curious. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.